Good evening, I'm Mark Seal and welcome to Final Score. It's our sports show where we'll talk about the headlines and the newsmakers of the past week. Tonight, surfing and the NBA. Now, the Barbados team just came back from the Pan Am Surfing Games in Panama, and it has been described as a successful outing. While the NBA, well, they're to the playoffs, that's the business end of the season. First, though, to surfing, where Chelsea Tuak has surfed her way onto another medal podium. Tuak added to her career medals count by placing second in the final of the Pan American Surfing Games shortboard competition in Santa Catalina, Panama. Tuak registered 9.77 points in that final, with a best wave of 5.17 to take the silver, behind winner Silvana Lima of Brazil, who had 13.16. Now, the medal capped off a successful weekend for Chelsea, as she also qualified for the upcoming CAC as well as the Pan Am Games. Joining us live is Chelsea herself, along with the national surf team manager, Margot Tuak, who incidentally is Chelsea's mom. Of course, you, our viewers, can make your contributions and ask your questions via social media. Our WhatsApp number is 228-5562, while our Facebook handles are CBC Barbados or cbcnews.bb. You can also call live on 228-5562. So, good night, ladies. And we have Chelsea on the right and Margot in the middle. Good night. Well, let's first look at the overall team result from the Pan Am Surfing Games and said what it says about surfing in Barbados. Margot, we can start with first with your assessment of surfing in Barbados from the last championship in Panama.
Well, certainly I can say that Barbados is right up there with the best in the region. We, as you know, Chelsea did make it all the way to the finals. There were 60 of our top regional surfers in the contest, and she ended second overall. Chelsea Ruitt made it to the quarterfinals, ended 13th, and we also had two boys, Joshua and Jacob Burke, who ended in the top 20, and Jay Allen and Kai St. George also attended the games, and they had high scores in the good to excellent range, showing that they are certainly capable of going all the way to the final as well. It's all in surfing, it's all about Mother Nature, it's all about being on the best waves to get the best scores, and our surfers are certainly capable of being up there with the very best in the region.
And of course, St. George, he was the first longboarder we had at those games, wasn't he?
Well, we've had representation many years ago, but first in recent times, Kai St. George, and he was also accompanied by Jacob Burt, and Kai ended a commendable 19th out of the 34 longboarders. Tremendous talent. He was the youngest surfer on the team at 17 years old, and I'm expecting big things from Kai in the future.
And Chelsea, welcome to the show. Of course, you're happy, ecstatic with that silver medal. You want to look, though, at what your vision is for yourself, the goals that you have. So you are happy with the silver. Are you satisfied?
So going to this Pan American Surfing Games, my main goal was to get into the Intersport Pan Am Games, Santiago 2023. Because it's there at those games where I'll have to win gold to qualify for the Olympics and be among one of the 24 women representing my nation in surfing and shortboard. So it was just a stepping stone, but coming away with a medal always feels awesome. And knowing that I was just short of that gold medal is a motivator, but also a confidence boost, because I know what was missing in my final, and I know what to work on going forward to then get that gold medal in Chile in October. So I was satisfied, but I want more through the year.
Well, I was interviewing Michael Maskell in 1999 at the Pan Am Games in Winnipeg, and he said in shooting, the only thing that really separates the competitors is consistency, where all of them can hit the bullseye regularly, but it's who can hit it regularly. Is that the same thing in surfing?
It is a bit like that. As my mom said, that we are dealing with Mother Nature, and a big part of surfing is choosing the right waves, and it's almost like being in the right place at the right time. But in the Panama event, we did go 5 days early, and we spent a lot of time on that break So we were arming ourselves with advantage, with the best opportunity to understand the wave and know what waves to take. So there is a bit of luck involved, but my coach always says that you make the luck for yourself with training and consistency and dedication, and I do believe that.
Well, and Margot, what is the next event, or should I say the next couple events for the team, and what are the prospects? Any more medals that we are looking for, developmental? What are the events coming up, and what are the prospects?
Well, there are three events coming up. The CAC Games that we mentioned that will be taking place at the end of June in El Salvador. That's a break that we're familiar with. We're going to go with our strongest surfers, our Olympic team, and we have very good prospects to medal there, for sure. And then that will be followed in early August by the ANOC Beach Games. That's the Association of National Olympic Committees. That will be held in Bali in Indonesia. And the ISA Games are the first ones. They're taking place at the end of this month, and they're actually a qualifier for the ANOC Beach Games and another qualifier for Santiago. So those surfers that did not qualify at the PASA Games will have a second opportunity. They're going to have to finish in the top 5 eligible surfers, but we're very capable of doing that, as I said. And then the big one, the Pan American Games in Santiago, October 2023, which is our Olympic qualifier.
What about France 2024? How do you feel about that? Or are we looking more at 2028?
No, 2024 is our goal at the moment, for sure. We're looking to have our representatives in the next Olympics 2024. And that's why we're putting our best foot forward now. The ISAs this year, they're just a stepping stone. We're going to hopefully get a good seeding, and our qualifier will be the ISA Games in 2024 in Puerto Rico at a rate. And so similar kind of waves to what we have in Barbados with a reef break, big barreling, right and left point break. So I think that we have a really good chance to qualify.
Okay, we'll pause here and come back with your questions and comments for Chelsea and Margot Twack on the state of surfing in Barbados. We'll be right back. We're back with Final Score with questions and comments for Margot Twack, the National Surf Team Manager, and world-rated surfer Chelsea Twack. So let's now look at those WhatsApp questions coming up. I can look at the first one. Chelsea, the first one is actually for you. Clearly, you can see it at the bottom of the screen. At age 27, providing they have your age correct, is your window of opportunity closing as far as surfing is concerned?
I am 27, and I think what we've seen in recent years in surfing is that body in tip-top shape, and your desire, your motivation is there. You can go until you don't feel like anymore. The best surfer in the world, Kelly Slater, he's an 11-time world champ, and he just won a World Championship Tour event at 50 years old. So really, the sky is the limit. I've never wanted to limit myself to an age of when I wanted to retire, but right now my goal is Paris in 2024, and I'm not thinking about retiring or closing off this chapter yet. I'm still full speed ahead, training every day and working towards my goal. And I told myself that I would know when enough is enough, and I know when I'd like to close that chapter. But I still have a lot more to give and really enjoy representing Barbados. So we'll see.
Well, Chelsea, the second question is also for you. Someone is saying that the waves look small in Panama. I guess they saw our stories on TV8. So they want to know if you enjoyed the conditions in Panama.
So in Panama, it was actually quite interesting because we had all types of conditions. When we first arrived, it was quite small, but then the swell did increase and we had some bigger days. And then towards the finals day, it got small again. So I've always told myself, and coaches have always told me, that you need to be prepared for anything. I, of course, coming from Barbados and the Caribbean, I like bigger surf because it's what we get in Barbados and what we enjoy. So I would have hoped for, bigger waves to definitely show my potential and perform at my best. But I'm always prepared for anything and enjoy any conditions. Obviously, once I'm, progressing through the rounds and get into the final.
Okay, and the next question, Margot, is for you. I think you touched on it a bit earlier, where someone is asking if the Barbados Surfing Association is making any plans for the Olympic Games 2024 and or 2028. If you can expand on that, I know you touched on it just now.
Yeah, the Barbados Surfing Association is fully behind their top open male and female surfers, and we're certainly targeting both Paris 2024 and 2028. That's why they're fully supporting the team going to the ISA Games this year and next year, and any upcoming qualifiers. They will be fully behind our top surfers.
Margot, again, the next question is for you. I would assume the person is asking, is there a school program for surfing where we can get the next Chelsea's?
Definitely, the BSA is also focusing, or you can also help Chelsea with that, but the BSA has a developmental program right now. As a matter of fact, just last month they had one of the top coaches here, Ashley Nolan, working with our juniors, and we do have a lot of very promising juniors coming up. So we are looking to develop our juniors and produce world-class surfers.
And how is that
Chelsea,
program looking? Yeah, how is that program looking, though, that developmental program?
So I think it's still in the early stages, but we understand that to get to the Olympics and to get to medaling, we need to really fall for years. And I was lucky to have support from my parents and from the BSA when I was little. But now we have so many more resources, and we have myself and Josh Burke and persons who have done all of the tours and represented Barbados. So we're hoping to give back a little bit and try and foster the youth, more school programs that you say, more clinics for, the meet the pros, for the pros to surf with younger people, and just to get the word out about surfing more so. So we're hoping that towards the end of this year and next year, we'll have some more outreach programs.
Okay, and this question I think is for both of you. Don't mind the person is addressing Chelsea. Do the international judges respect competitors from small countries? In other words, we saw like in boxing where, if someone from Trinidad came up against an American or a Cuban, sometimes you would have thought, but wait a minute, that smaller country athlete should have done better as far as the judges were concerned. Do you find that happening in surfing, that you need some more respect for the smaller countries, or is all even Stevens?
Well, I think it happens in any subjective sport. Because surfing, you're being judged and it's subjective. You may always feel that way, that, okay, the more known countries are they're getting scored a bit easier. And we've definitely seen that in the past. But something that I think is really important to remember, especially in a subjective sport, is that you need to perform so well that there's no question. I understand that the sport I'm in is subjective, and there's definitely been calls made against me that I didn't think were right, and I've had to deal with that through my whole career. But that's not something I can change. All I can change is the way I perform. And so we always go into these bigger events knowing that we need to win by quite a bit to make sure that we're getting the results that we deserve.
And Margot, as manager, does that irk you? Do you find as manager that you feel like you want to make a protest?
Well, I myself am an internationally qualified judge, and yes, sometimes I do feel that our surfers are being hard done by, that they tend to score, as Chelsea said, the more well-known surfers and the bigger surfing nations a little bit easier than our surfers. But as Chelsea said, you can't have that as your main focus. Your focus has to be to go out there, surf your very best, and make sure that there's no doubt in the judge's head. Just you have to perform that much better to get a fair score.
Okay, and our final question, Margot, I guess this one is for you. Don't mind, Chelsea, we would like you to weigh in as well. How about a Carifta surfing games, or if we can get surfing on the current aquatics Carifta games? How about that?
It's something that we've actually been discussing with Puerto Rico, and we want to get something like that, a Caribbean Cup, where we can actually compete in our region between each other. So yes, that's definitely something that we're very interested in, and that we need to have more discussion on and more planning with the other Caribbean nations. Chelsea, what do you think?
Absolutely.
You would have missed the Carifta games, but it would be a good developmental program though for younger ones coming up.
Definitely. I hope that we can start with getting our younger primary school age students comfortable with the ocean and comfortable with swimming, and then get them into some surfing programs, because in Barbados we have some of the best waves in the world. It's really done a lot for my life, and I've gotten a lot out of it, and I hope to definitely share that joy and the sport with more Barbadians and more younger Barbadians. So stay tuned.
Okay. Well, thank you, ladies, for joining us on Final Score. Chelsea, positive performances coming up for you, and good health to you. So keep that Barbados flag flying high. And Margot, you've always been an excellent PR for surfing. I'll continue to listen out for all of your updates when Chelsea is surfing and when all the other surfers are also surfing. Thank you for your updates, and please continue. Thank you very much, ladies.
Thanks for having us, Mark. It was a pleasure.
No problem. Well, after the break, we'll switch to the NBA playoffs with our basketball analyst, Patrick Tannis. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Final Score. The NBA playoffs have started. Now we're down to the conference semifinals, where in the East we have the Boston Celtics playing against the Philadelphia 76ers. And incidentally, they are currently live on game number 3 on MCTV's ESPN channel 308. And also in the East, we have the New York Knickerbockers against the Miami Heat. Then in the West, the Phoenix Suns are playing the Denver Nuggets, and the defending champions, the Golden State Warriors, are matched up with the Los Angeles Lakers. Let's say goodnight to our basketball analyst and former national player, Patrick Tannis. Hi, Patrick. And a few weeks ago, you told Shane Sealy in this seat that to look out for the Warriors, and now they're tied 1-1 with the Lakers in the Western Conference semis. I'm certain you're not surprised.
No, I'm not surprised, Mark, and good night to everyone. And again, kudos to Chelsea as well, who was on before. Mark, this is an exciting moment in basketball because you're seeing the effect and the greatness of none other than Stephen Curry. That guy is a guy that can shoot. I think he's the most prolific point guard in NBA history. The way that he can turn a game around is Jordan-esque, if we want to say that. And to all of our viewers tonight, today, I want us to say that, and I want us to understand that this is one of the most exciting NBA moments in history, because you've got the scoring title winner of all time, LeBron James, and you've got one of the most amazing point guards in history, Stephen Curry, competing against each other. The scores are 1 each, and let me tell you, this is going to be one of the most exciting semifinals in Western Conference history. I like how Jokic and how he's turned around his game, and he's more of a team player and a team leader. And so therefore he is going to be a weapon that is likely to cause a lot of trouble. But do not discount Kevin Durant, who incidentally has Barbadian lineage. And we can talk about that some more, because during COVID, Kevin was supposed to come to Barbados with his family. But that series with the Suns could go any which way. And we know that Jamal was here, who is one of the leaders in the Nuggets team. The Nuggets have never, ever won an NBA championship. There are 11 teams that have never won, and the Nuggets are one. And let me tell you, the Joker, as they call him, he's no joker. He can pass, he can screen, he can go to the hoop and score. This is very exciting because the Knicks have the Jimmy Butler, the man himself. He can turn any game around pretty much like Stephen Curry, but with different weapons. And he has the ability to rebound and play on the inside as well as on the outside. Every set play, at the end of every game, he becomes the most dangerous man. And of course, the Knicks have not won a series in a long time. The Knicks are preparing Jalen Brunson. He's the highest paid player on the Knicks team. And if you listen to what is going on, he is the most unlikely looking basketballer, but he is able to turn any game around. He can shoot like Steph Curry, he can drive, and his passing arsenal is similar to LeBron James. We've got an amazing series coming up, Mark. This is
Patrick,
amazing.
Time is always short when we're talking basketball, so let's go to the social media comments straight off the bat. And I can tell you one of the first things that you were just talking about. No one is talking about the Knicks. Y'all will wait and see. So clearly that's a New York Knicks fan. What do you think? Do you think the Knicks can come out of the East? In fact, do you even think they can make the finals in the East?
Yeah, I think the Knicks can definitely come out. What is interesting is that the Knicks beat the Celtics, who seem to be the strongest team right now in the East. And the Knicks actually beat them, and pretty much beat them badly. Now, Randall is temperamental. I love Randall, his game. But every night you see a different Randall, and that's what concerns most of the Knicks fans and the Knicks players who play with him. I think Randall, if he has the rest of the season, Julius Randall at his best kind of season, the Knicks can actually win not just the East, they can actually win the playoffs. They're that good. Okay,
those are fighting words, Patrick. But let's go to the next one. Now the Suns will win Game 3 tonight, and they will win Game 4 on Sunday to even the series with Denver. Do you agree or disagree?
I think that the Suns are a complete team when they have the Jedi Master on the court, and that is the veteran himself, the short man, Chris Paul. Without Chris coordinating the passes to the hot hands that are that are there with Kevin and the other hot hand, I think that they're short-handed. And I think because of his injury, if he can return, this is Chris Paul, to coordinate the action, they can win tonight. But without him there, I have my doubts. Well, you see, though, Patrick, in the NBA, I've seen the 76ers, they won without Joel Embiid. And we're seeing teams winning without some of their top players. But you're saying that without Chris Paul, the Suns could be down 0-3 tonight. Yeah, because it's such a young team, and Ayton needs that constant inspiration. As we all know, Ayton was the #1 draft pick. He is a Bahamian, wonderful guy. You meet Ayton, he's the most friendly guy, wonderful personality, but he does get discouraged. I think if Ayton has Chris Paul on the floor, passing those passes to him and controlling the action at the top end, we can see an Ayton that busts loose, as we call it. And then, of course, the Suns can beat anybody again. Like I said, Mark, this is a serious thing. Anybody can beat anybody if these guys run hot, to be honest, right? Yeah. So, yes, I think with Chris Paul there, action could take place tonight. Well, the next question I was hoping to be my last question for you, but seeing as the next question I will ask you, who is going to win the NBA title? Mark, I'm going to shock you and tell you that it could very well be a Western Conference team. The West is very deep, and to be honest, if the Lakers, if all of their action guys turn up, we could have a problem. But because Steph Curry is the hot hand that he is, look out for the Warriors. So I'm saying I think it's going to be a West team, and I think it could be either of those two. Whoever comes out, the winner of that series could go on to win the entire NBA Finals. So let's get this right, Patrick. You're saying that the Dubs and the Warriors and the Lakers
are better than Denver Nuggets, the number one team overall.
I think that no one has essentially shut down the two top players for the Nuggets. Mm-hmm. And if you shut them down, there's nobody else. That's the challenge that they face. So, I mean, the Lakers are deep enough. If those guys get inspired, you got Beasley who sits on the bench. Beasley is a hot hand. He is another Stephen Curry if you really look at it. So anything could happen, Mark. If the Warriors or the Lakers turn on, we could have a problem.
Okay, and that's the West, but in the East, actually, I think just like how the Warriors right now are playing against the Lakers, I think that the Celtics and the 76ers, that in itself could have been an Eastern Conference final right there. What do you think about those two teams? Any one of those coming out, you don't think that there will be a bit of something that the Lakers or the Warriors would have to worry about?
Absolutely. I mean, the Celtics are the most dangerous East team, in my opinion, because, again, of their depth. But if you saw what happened last time, something as simple as stopping Jason Tatum from going to the right, something as simple as that, forcing him left, could throw his game completely off. He's not corrected that fully, in my opinion, and that makes that team extremely vulnerable. He and Jaylen Brown are two extremely hot hands, of course, but when you start to shut down one of them, they feed off each other so much that you could have a problem. And then Smart and the other players, they can't pull the weight. Horford, as we know, he has a great shot for a big man, but they need a Jason Tatum who can diversify his play, and they don't have that. He still is shut down trying to go one way or the other.
And one team that we haven't even mentioned right now, and they're upsetting everyone, the Miami Heat.
The Heat have one of the best crowds behind them. To go into Miami and win, you got to be good. But again, they've lost one of their great shooters. They've lost one of their great players. I can't remember how to call his name. Oladipo, I think his name is, that young guy. And then, of course, the hot hand, he fell and broke his finger. Those two guys, they were adding value. I know there's an over-reliance, right, on Jimmy Butler. And, you know, the shooting ranges of the team are off. You don't have the depth. And I say this, right, the coach for the NBA superstar Miami Heat team, the coach, I think he is a good player, post player, no, a good coach. But I think the challenge he has brought to the Miami Heat is his lack of focus coming up to the end. Now, he's played well, subbed well, and putting good players at the end of the tournament, at the end of the coming up to the last seconds of the game. He's put in some good players, and he's rotated his bench well, but he does not have the depth. So he has found himself kind of exaggerating the amount of play that he needs from guys like Jimmy Butler. That has caused a lot of friction in after the games inside the locker room. So I think the Heat are going to have a challenge right there. Look at what goes on in the locker room and when they come out. A lot of tempers are flaring.
Well, Patrick, boy, time has passed us. Thank you very much. Of course, we will have you back possibly for the conference finals, but definitely for the NBA final. So I'll see you at local basketball, and we'll talk some more NBA later on as well. But we'll be right back to wrap up Final Score in a minute. In our final 60 seconds, the BCA T20 Cup resumes tomorrow at 2 p.m. with Series 7. One key match, Wildy versus YMPC right here behind us at SJPI. The BNA's Division 1 continues tomorrow with Pride of Villa taking on Blazers at 7 p.m. at the Netball Stadium. And the NBA playoffs continue tomorrow with a doubleheader on MCTV's ABC and ESPN channels at 3:30. It's the Knicks versus the Heat. Then at 8:30, the Dubs and the Lakers. Well, that's our program for this week. Join us again next week as more analysts and newsmakers join us on Final Score. Good night, and remember, let's be careful out there.